Greetings, culture lovers. Troy David Phillips here at Flashback Comics in Woodbridge, Virginia, and today I'm going to continue to give you a little bit of the science of superpowers. That's right, it's comic books, it's science. And first, I'm going to talk today about the science of Superman's powers, how Superman has been presented from his earliest days in the Golden Age to today. Now, when Superman was first brought to us in 1938, thank you very much to Siegel and Schuster and national periodicals at the time, Superman was faster than a speeding bullet, more powerful than a locomotive, able to leap tall buildings in a single bound. And the explanation for his powers was that he came from Krypton, which had a higher gravity. These beings were physically more advanced than humans on Earth. They were scientifically gifted, they were physically gifted, and some of this owed to the first draft of the Superman story that Siegel and Schuster had put together. They retooled their concepts and they gave us the last son of doomed planet Krypton. Well, over time, Superman's powers have been explained to be part of his metabolism, absorbing yellow solar energy and converting that into the various superpowers that he possessed. Now, what's happened is, over the years, Superman's power has grown as subsequent writers and artists have found a need for him to be even more powerful as the stories went on, as the magnitude of what we consider epic increased through the years and the decades. By the time you get into the Silver Age, into the primary era of the Silver Age, you would see Superman flying. Something that came from the Mike Fleischer cartoons again. Superman was flying, and not just flying, but flying faster than the speed of sound. He was now so invulnerable that he could even survive an atomic explosion. He was so strong that he was able to move a planet out of its orbit and then put it back if necessary. He could hold his breath indefinitely while flying from one planet to another, from one solar system to another, from one galaxy to another. We added to his powers his X-ray vision, his telescopic vision, microscopic vision, his long-range offensive weapon, his heat vision. Again, this was all explained by his metabolism, his metabolizing solar energy, and then projecting that. Whatever it was that someone could do, Superman could do it better. He could do it to that nth degree, to that super degree. And there were an awful lot of powers that got tacked onto him, even the most ridiculous super ventriloquism and super hypnotism. Now, into the Bronze Age, writers found themselves increasingly challenged of doing stories with Superman, and his powers were at such a high level, they were finding it difficult to continue to challenge him. So stories were done to ramp his power level back, to bring it back down to something, and the subsequent characters around him found their power levels also downgraded appropriately. At one point, Superman would easily have been a match for Hercules. Well, if Superman's power scales down, so does Hercules's. Superman was at least just a hair slower than the Flash, both of these characters incredibly fast, but for the fact that the Flash ran faster, Superman could fly faster. Completely separate power. And so on and so on. I read a catalog of Superman's abilities from approximately 1983, which broke it down and said Superman could easily move the moon out of orbit. He could sit on the moon, and with his telescopic vision, he could read every book in the Library of Congress. His mental facilities were so great that he could memorize every book in the Library of Congress in the time that it takes for you or me to watch this video. And he could then burn the Library of Congress with that heat vision from that distance. Superman could fly so fast that he could break the time barrier and travel forwards and backwards in time, something that he had done several times in the Silver Age and in the Bronze Age. In any event, the Bronze Age came to a close. We got that last Whatever Happened to the Man of Tomorrow story from Alan Moore, and we moved through Crisis on Infinite Earths and into the Superman relaunch, the rebooting, the John Byrne series, Man of Steel, and then Superman, The Adventures of Superman, and the new action. Now, John Byrne had scaled Superman's powers back yet one more time, And Superman was said to be able to lift the weight equivalent to the Great Pyramid of Giza, if it were possible to actually pick that up without it crumbling under its own weight. But Byrne went a step farther and added to Superman a sort of a tactile telekinesis. Remember that, this is going to come up again. Whenever Superman lifted a heavy object, he extended to it by contact a telekinetic field that stabilized the object so he could actually pick it up. So when you see Superman lifting an ocean liner, that explains why the ocean liner doesn't crack in half under its own weight. So that is the scientific explanation, which to this day you have Superman, our current Superman, married to Lois Lane with his son Jonathan Kent, flying faster than a speeding bullet, in fact, flying faster than Mach 10. Lifting great weights, in fact, once again, lifting ocean liners if needs be, resisting just about everything thrown at him, just about, but there are a great many forces that can negatively impact Superman. Let's review a couple of them real quick. Green kryptonite, the radioactive ore from Krypton, which weakens Superman, which causes detrimental physical effects, and is also toxic to human beings. Green kryptonite is not safe for humans to handle. Superman is vulnerable to psionics, mental powers, so a battle with Gorilla Grodd or Hector Hammond would give Superman pause. Superman has always been vulnerable to the forces of magic. Thank goodness Superman doesn't often run afoul of Zatanna or Dr. Fate, but if he did, they could have their way with the Man of Steel. Superman, of course, can be matched by other Kryptonians, by Daxamites, by incredibly powerful creatures like Doomsday, or Mongol, or the apocalyptic god of evil, Darkseid, or his incredibly strong son, Kalibak. So Superman has vulnerabilities. Superman has shortfalls. There are ways to affect this character. And there you have it. Thank you for joining me, and remember the battle cry, it's science.